We're doing a very, 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 very early live show today. Primarily because this is probably the first instance all year, except maybe during one of the Mondays, where I've actually been, well, definitely since the quarantine, during where I could, stream for a little bit. So I am definitely going to take advantage of it. Um, I would say this has been a fairly satisfying week project wise. I was kind of pissed off because I couldn't record the Schumer documentary due to all these people just walking back and forth. It wasn't, there was never a period in this week where it was really good to try to record something. But I'll try to do it this week, and I'll be able to also grab some clips off of C-SPAN to stick in there as well. But outside of that, I was pretty content because I got around to putting up the California's Excrement Employers 3, which I had been teasing for a while and admittedly had been delayed, but it was delayed because of the Slum Digger. Did you see the part where I applied on, like, it was like March 26th, and it took them almost a full month for one of those 31 places to say something back? Now, that's crazy as hell. You over here applying to remember enough 7-Elevens for 6 basketball teams, only one of them says anything. And then the pricks that said something back after you message, they're like, you gotta message us really quickly because we're booking these jobs. You gotta message us really quickly. I messaged them back 5 hours later. To this day, have heard nothing back. You should have seen the original plan I had for that. I was gonna have it be one of those things where I'm like, guess how many I applied to? Not 1, not 5, not 10, not 15, not 20, not 25. And they're way worse than Jack in the Box, because when I applied there, as I mentioned in the video, they let you just do all of them at once. You have to manually, with 7-Eleven, go through each individual one. Damn. No, Slum Digger. I'm very upset with one of the people on the project because they managed to trick me. They did some shady stuff. I mean, Slum Digger. I actually, and I'm gonna do a video about this. I'm doing it a separate video because I actually wrote out a script and it's a lot more to the point and concise and not off the cuff, so there's no stuttering. But imagine me giving you my number, and then the day after that, because we've had, let's say in the past, 3 separate instances where I get depressed and then I start ignoring you on purpose. And then the day after I give you my number, after these 3 different instances of me ignoring you on purpose, I start the 4th period of me ignoring you on purpose. I really don't like the ladylike and logic. That was this dumb broad I was trying to get with last year that, was like playing the friend zone crap. But at least I could actually see myself talking to her for like a year or two without her purposely trying to explain, like, not speak. Like, you have to piss her off for her to not speak. With this one, they'll literally just wake up one day and go, "Oh, I'm depressed. So if you send me a message this week, I will not respond." And then yesterday, I was telling this relative about this situation, and because they know it's a chick, they start doing the, the vagina protection squad. So they're like, "Well, she was depressed, and when people are depressed, they don't want to talk to people." I said, "Who are you talking to?" Because I even said during the video, I'm saying, in being depressed, I've never taken it out on people who didn't make me depressed. Gotta love these people who disappear from your life for no reason. Yeah. And this same clown, yeah, Megumi, the vagina protection squad, as long as it's got a clit, we'll defend it. No, they love doing that. Oh, this person is depressed. Are they a woman? Yeah. Oh, well, she's having such a hard time and life is rough. And blah, 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 blah. And it was the craziest thing because me and this person spoke in November and December of last year. And twice when we spoke for that not even 2 month period, they go, I'm depressed. And then they vanish for a week. So when you try to send a message, they don't say anything. And they admit they don't say anything on purpose. So then we started speaking again last month. And then they do the, after you get like a week of them acting normal, then I'm depressed. And they vanish for a week. And then you start getting messages from them apologizing and going, I'm so sorry for treating you like trash. I feel very bad for doing that. And then they go back to doing the exact same thing. Yeah, power of the taco. Like I even like in 4 months of speaking to this person, you can name multiple like who gets depressed every other week to where you got to go hide in your little hole and vanish from the world. Now, I'm gonna get in her behind on this video coming out this week. I got the script written. I just have to record it and edit it. I was trying to put it out yesterday, which is when I wrote the majority of the script, but I just kind of said forget it because I didn't want to put out something where I'm not entirely like when I did the childless problem, that was written over a couple of days. And I was just thinking over and over, do I want to include this line? Do I want this line included? So it was more methodical because of how long it took to put it out. Just kind of me thinking about what all needs to be said. They always play their childish games. Well, I've never seen some like a lot of people will say chicks are like little kids the way they act, but to have an individual who keeps saying, I am sorry for ignoring you this past week. And then she even admits, and I have a screen, I got the screenshot of it. She admits that she purposely ignores the guys, not the guys. Well, when I say guys, not men she talks to, but just people that she's friends with in general. She does the same thing to them. So that like basically she's saying, hey, I'll screw over all of you and you'll feel good because it's not just you that I treat like trash. But then I even point out that like they started this fourth period of being, like pretending I don't exist on the 18th. And somebody will say, oh, maybe something happened to them because of the virus, because they were freaking out about that prior to the virus starting, or rather, well, prior to starting this ignoring me period. But I'm like, Discord is a funny website. It's one of the few websites that shows you when people are online, and you have the option to make yourself not be online. So I know that this person was still logging into their account and just not responding to any of my inquiries because they don't care. Yeah, women can be a lot like children. Men baby them a lot. So no surprise there. I've met very few exceptions to that rule. Yeah, I told you they have like 8 personalities. They change their mind every 5 seconds. A broad who literally, in this, you're gonna see it in the video, gave me her number the day before deciding not to speak to me again. It's like, who does that? Yeah, it's always really annoying when people can't act like they have any sense. I just want individuals who, and it's like, this isn't a little girl doing this, it's a 30-plus-year-old woman acting like a child. That, like, who the heck? And she literally lives on Discord. So every day she logs on this website. Oh, I got a new message from this person. Ignoring them. And then Megumi says, ludicrous, man. It was pretty ludicrous to see her online and you go, hello, no response. You call them, no response. And then you have their cell phone number. You call them. I think I called her between the 18th to what day was he over here? I had this relative that was over here. I think that was Tuesday, like 3 times in 12 days, no response. You send them a text message, no response. And then you know that they're fine because they keep logging into that site that tells you they've logged in. So they're just being a prick or a dumb hoe, whatever term you want to use. I'm fine with either one. God, it is like a merry-go-round with these broads, man. Yeah, Mark likes to vanish. You know, Mark is literally he's doing the same thing that Winifred was like. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. And then, well, not left me. It's a reference to some song, but it's like I didn't go anywhere. You chose to not come anymore. I didn't change the channel name. I didn't migrate to a new website. I was in the same dojo, and you. It's like that one store that you go to every weekend for lunch, and then you just one time after, for whatever reason, just decide to stop going and never go back to, or if you do, it's like once a year now. It's like they didn't go anywhere. They're still there. No consequence for it. So why not treat guys terribly? Nothing we can do about it. But it's not with her. It's not just guys. She admitted, and see, this is, I even make this point in the video. The reason when I talk to these broads, I never call them my friend, never try to say we're friends, always say we're acquaintances, because I know the way they treat me when I speak to them is not something a friend would do. No goddamn friend of mine is gonna log onto some website every day, see messages from me, and then not respond on purpose for weeks. But yeah, I mentioned earlier that she admitted that with all of her friends, she does this too. Just ignores them on purpose. And I guess that's supposed to be some kind of good thing for me to hear because, oh, I'm not the only one that is being treated like garbage. If you get angry, you're abusive. If you push it hard, you're stalking and obsessive. Megumi, we're friends. That's why I'm going to ignore all of your goddamn messages. Like this broad, the last call we had before we stopped speaking last year, she said, I, as your friend, blah, 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 blah. I don't remember what the finishing part was, but she was trying to make some point about the romance thing. And I was just thinking in my head, just in retrospect, because she admitted that she purposely waited for just day after day to go by where I would say something via text and she wouldn't respond. And I'm like, that's a friend who purposely waited for you to keep saying stuff and not responding on their part to where you would unfriend them or leave them alone. Like, who does that and calls themselves someone's friend? Women don't respect the guy's time in general, as so they feel they can get away with anything. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This one guy was like, "Why do chicks waste the world's time?" Well, I meant that is good to know. She's admitting she is unreliable. Mom always said when some reveals who they are, believe them. I just have never seen someone so self-aware of their shortcomings and then like going out of their way to continue to exercise those shortcomings. Like if I say, "Oh man, every week I want to do a documentary, but I never can write out a whole script because I start on Thursday or Friday and I want to record stuff on Saturday. I don't have that's not enough time to do the whole thing." I would start earlier. I would start on Monday or Sunday, which is what I did with the Schumer one, and why I'm so angry that I didn't finish that. But you know, whatever. Point is, who the hell is going to sit there and say, "Oh, I recognize that I need to improve and I'm trying my hardest," and then go right back to acting the same stupid way? God, there is something wrong with these broads, man. And it's like I feel bad just on an internal level because I always say it's the chick's fault, and I mean it is when you say I'm attracted to you, and the person says I only see you as a friend and all that trash. But I do feel stupid for basically because what I wanted to do the second time I spoke to this person was not have any of the romantic crap because that never I have the thing of how that never works. They always basically use it as the reason for why they cut you off. So I said, if I can just get them to do some kind of platonic thing for me, like do a voice in the show, whatever the hell, maybe this will work out this time. Um, but hey, they artificially create a problem. They don't get held accountable for anything they do. It seems not at all. Someone actually said chicks get less accountability than children. Like I actually had a relative that I was talking to about the dumb broad with the baby, and she was like, "Well, I had a kid when I was young too, so I can't criticize her for doing it." And I was like, first of all, the situation was entirely different because this person had a much larger support group than the broad with the baby. But secondly, where do they do that at? Where do people make a mistake and then someone else makes the same mistake that they supposedly care about, and then they don't say, "Hey, don't do this. This is wrong. It screwed me up." Like, think about this. I was in second grade at one point. I did some stuff that little kids do. They, make mistakes, say something out of term, whatever. So if my little brother decides to do that, I'm supposed to go, "Well, I was in second grade, so I can't criticize him for doing that at this point." Like, what sense does that make? If you care about the person and you have seen the error of your ways, why the hell would you say, I'm just going to let them screw up and destroy themselves or do things that I think are purposely are definitely going to hurt them because I did it to myself? You're not going to say, hey, this is wrong. It messed me up in this capacity. Don't repeat it. Well, that's how we roll. If you make the mistake that I make, I'm just going to let you screw it up again. We got to make sure history repeats itself. So I said chicks are like a yo-yo. Like there was this one guy who was talking about, oh, if you had maybe started this year, I was like, dude, the entire time I have been anywhere close to dating age, the internet has been around, like the social media stuff where you've got 8 guys trying to talk to one chick on her picture on Insta. That's been around literally for the entire time I've been of any, I guess, romance seeking age. So I was always going to get screwed over by that. Doesn't matter if I got online in 2010 or 11 or 12 or 13. It was, the Instagram and the rest of those websites were already there. Well, I don't. When was Instagram made? I have to go look. I know it's been around since at least 2012. So let me see. It was pretty funny. That's like the only social media site still growing. All the other ones, basically, like on YouTube, everybody's channel is dying. On Twitter, people are the main ones posting stuff are the same users from 10 years ago. Instagram's the only website that's actually still growing. All the other video sharing sites are just dead places that only get used when people want to stick something on there that they can't put on YouTube. It is pretty comedic in my opinion. Okay, Instagram was launched in 2010, created by 2 men that no one will ever know the name of because people don't care about knowing who makes these websites. They just use them anyway. I do think, I was talking about how people are like don't know anything and lack information. I do think that if you use something, you should know the person who made it. Like, I think if, I don't know, let's say you really like St. Jude, you should know who started that hospital. Like, it's just, it's just my opinion. I think whenever, like, if there's always key people who are involved with an organization or with something being created, but at the very least, know who the top person was that made it. me send Ruben a message. Oh, they lost their damn mind when they thought. And I guess what kills me so much is I think I am at my most empathetic when I do the project because I give people time to do stuff. And I always say, if you need an extension, I don't have a problem giving you one. Just let me know. So when I have someone who is able, as she had revealed, to record whenever she wants, and their response to me basically, being hand and foot for them is pretty much to just vanish. I mean, like that, like that's just a douchebag thing to do, and I don't understand why people want to defend that sick behavior. Oh, this man that I purposely ignored in December is giving me a second chance. Let me make sure that I take this interaction again. Well, you know what? I'm gonna abide by her wishes. We're not gonna be like baseball where it's 3 strikes out. Had 2 chances, messed up both of them. You're done. We got no choice but to expect the way things are when it comes to dating. Our egos are always targeted by shaming language if we don't fit a certain narrative that's pleasing to women in our society. Oh, I didn't even know you left a comment, Ruben. I didn't get rid of it, so what the hell? Yeah, I think YouTube must have messed it up. Type it again. Completely agree with you. Funny enough, a serial killer could have invented Instagram and people would still use it. Well, that's why there was that guy who said that what was that joke that they made? It was really funny. It was something about if Hitler came back, people would try to take pictures with him and hang out with him and all that because they don't really care about anything. They just grandstand. No, they don't. I'm really sick of the broad situation, but even in being tired of it, I still said I will speak to this person if they actually do something for me. Because the whole thing with the chick stuff is you do a whole bunch of stuff for them, and they basically get to just kind of sit there and receive all of what you have. That's why you have these people on here who are talking about you need to have a 5 figures and 6 figures and this car and blah, 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 all this stuff that they want you to have. But then the bimbo just needs whatever's in between her legs, and that's good enough. That's an acceptable contribution. But that's a big part of the reason why I don't like involve myself with watching any of that stuff anymore because it's all about making the man have to jump through a billion hoops and having the broad have no accountability or any kind of need to do something. Like right now, there's a broad who never like people always say this guy lives with his parents. I bet he lives with his parents. That's why he's not getting on it. I know a broad right now, literally over 30 years old, still lives with their parents, and no one ever insults them over that situation. And I'm not saying you need to be ashamed of that. I just think it's ironic that when a chick does it, it's okay. When a man does it, we got to shame him and pretend like this is the reason that he's not getting successful crap with chicks, even though a lot of these broads don't even know who you live with because they won't even come to your house because they won't even say yes to meeting in person or anything. This is weird. Like, would you choose an easier life? I still rather be a man. Well, look, the chick stuff has caused me a lot of issues as far as like legitimately not believing in people anymore, like just thinking that the majority of them are just these little fakers that lie and make stuff up. But I don't know if I'd want to be one because my thing is they have the monthly, which is I've heard awful. So I'll just keep saying I do think in general things would be easier were I abroad because they just get like even the ones that I don't even think look good get a whole bunch of exemptions. People are lucky I don't post pictures on here because there was a wedding on I think I mentioned it before on Facebook where the guy was like slim or skinny and he was getting with some blob chick And me and my friend were laughing because we were saying that people always will make fun of some man for whatever weight they think he is, but then if a broad is that huge, you still see she's able to get with some man who is without a shadow of a doubt more in shape than she is. I just thought that was funny. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. They get away with all kind of, different standards or the lack thereof when it comes to people trying to date them. It just never made any kind of sense. Yeah, it's the Twilight Zone. Told you, this is the same universe where a broad I spoke to for 10 months said she legitimately thought I would stop speaking to a woman early before she could say she was interested. The same broad that I spoke to for almost an entire year said that. It's like, you a stupid hoe. I don't even want to read anything else you're writing. Yeah, Envoy, that's because this is like the first time since the quarantine saga started where I don't have anybody home. So I'm making sure to get all my yelling and high volume out. This is super early. Hey, Envoy, did you see 38? I put Benoit's theme song in there with a little snippet of it. I wrote it again and YouTube hit it again. Well, hey, at least now you know it's not me or the other mod that's here that's doing it. I mean, he was under attack. She wasn't striking him, so it was pretty accurate for the moment. I'll probably end up using it again at some point. Yeah, I just find it really sad that we have people who can't really act like they have any sense at all. Like I was when I mentioned the chick give me her number, and then the day after that she starts ignoring me again. That's just to show you that they actually change their minds like that. Like you can have a broad who I even gave the screenshots in that I forgot what that video was. There's a video I did about maybe a year and a half ago, and I showed screenshots of me talking to like 20 plus chicks, and one of them distinctively, and this one really pissed me off, came on my channel, talking all that good stuff. Oh, you're so smart, you're so handsome, and then within 3 days of saying, I can't wait for you to hear my voice. We can speak by audio for the first time. This bastard sends me a message talking about, I have been thinking about it, and upon inspection, I no longer am interested in pursuing a romance with you. I am so satisfied that I did not actually do this before any feelings got involved. Goodbye forever. 3 days later, with nothing in between. I could see if there was like a big argument. Nothing. Ho just sat there by herself and went, do I want to get with this man? I guess not. Oh well. That's why I said they changed their mind like I changed shirts. Envoy said, don't follow what women say, fellows. Follow what they do. Actions speak louder than any word. Yeah, but the problem is when you meet the ones online and you don't see them in person, you kind of have no choice but to take their word for it. It's only when they start acting ridiculous online is when you can determine if they're just saying something and not actually being what they're claiming they are. Ruben says, this is pathetic. Resistance can make any offensive and vulgar comments and threats they feel like while demanding us to behave or else we're bigoted. It's really ridiculous. Just pisses me off. Let me see if I can grab my charger. Ugh. Yup, online is very tricky. So you got all these female scammers on here. Like remember I told you about the one broad that I ever dated that spoke to me for a month, and then after the relationship started, asked me for money, I think 10 times in 1 week, and I basically said, "Our only money I'll give you is some Monopoly dollars." We'll hand you that. Reply chicks. Oh well, a guy wants to, if they're interested, you won't have to chase them. I've come to find that to be a true form watching them. I don't know. It's like because I used to believe that the only way this was going to change was if the chick did the approaching, but they still act stupid after doing that. I had at one point a broad come on here, and they literally just vanished. No, Envoy, there was a guy that made me almost want to pee on myself because there was a chick on Instagram. She was like, "Please give me money for my stupid whore pictures of me showing my behind in front of a camera." And his response was to take a dollar bill and print it on the front and then the back, and then glue it to like cut it out the picture of it, cut it out, glue them together, and then send that to her. Oh damn! Forget an expired coupon. He did give her $1, at least the picture of one. Almost every chick I come across on Instacrap has at least 3 times more followers on average compares to guys there. Yeah, it's just a site for horny men. That's why I said it is easier to do stuff as a chick because they get paid for everything. They don't even have like to take a pic, and it's like they take pictures on cameras that aren't even high quality. They're not doing any kind of exotic, amazing poses. So it's really just the benefit of having a vagina. And then a lot of the chicks that get thousands of likes and aren't even high. We go through again. I don't make content where I show people's faces, but there's a lot of broads I've seen on there who have thousands of likes on their pictures. I'm just like, I mean, she's all right. Now, at least that crazy chick that was in that gave me her number and then they started ignoring me. At least she looked good. Like I actually would admit to wanting to bend her over at some point, but my thing is, you can only you can't coast off of your appearance month after month while you're acting like a piece of garbage. It just doesn't work. Like that might be a nice way to get in the door, but to actually be a sustained person I have interest in, you got to at least have some kind of personality that's not total trash. That's why the ladylike and logic didn't work because it's like, yeah, she looked good, but I'm not going to play this stupid friend zone game. And then every time I get on the phone with you, you want to have an interview. It's like me asking Envoy, "How was your day?" Envoy says, "Good." Why was it good? Because I ate such and such food. Who made such and such food? What time did you eat it? It's like, damn, ho, I didn't. This isn't a shoot interview. I agree. I'm just comparing the difference between guy and chick users. No, we understand, Ruben. We know the thing. That there's a big disparity. Oh, by the way, someone did write a comment about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago about the need to have um, how they were like really annoyed that people keep saying they need to have 6 figures or whatever. And I just keep saying every time I look at the broad with the baby, and I know that the guy she got with didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, and he was still able to get with her, and people still want to go around talking about how you need all this money. It's like, who are you fooling? Like they really actually try to retroactively make it seem that every dude that ever went on a date was a millionaire or had 100,000 or whatever the hell. It's stupid. I would personally be aggravated to a high degree if I paid for those trashy pics. I've known people who had access to see some woman's account who have shown me the vids and pics. It's the most mediocre thing ever. Yeah, I don't get the appeal for these pictures because it's like that person is never going to touch you and they're making money off of you being horny. Good job. There is nobody's picture I will ever pay for. Like if I want to see some big, I guess, tits and a huge butt, I can draw some. I can get on my paintbrush. It's like there we go. Or you can go and look at the free ones online. So, like I don't understand the purpose of paying for that. I really don't. Some ugly chick said that guys against are sexist and immediately posted her. Yeah, I don't understand the logic behind that. Like they have a right to get paid off of that. I just again my issue is with the people who get it because they're the ones who subsidize this foolishness. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. People act like porn isn't free. Like the easiest thing you can get access to online is a naked broad. You can go on Lively, you can go on Pornhub, you can go on X videos, all those stupid websites. Hell, there's naked chicks on YouTube. I was talking about that a while ago. There's a video of some African ritual. So well, I don't know. I think it was African. The people appeared to be black. But my point is that it's not hard to see that. That's why I don't get why spend for a broad that I don't think looks any better or distinctively more amazing than the ones you can see for free. I agree, Mark. That's why I don't bother with it. I'm just saying that people have the option to get it for free. So it doesn't really make much sense to me to go out and spend for it. It's kind of like if someone says, "Hey, I'll give you this car for, I don't know, yeah, this car I bought for free," and it doesn't really look like it's anything spectacular, but it drives well, and once you buy it, it's yours forever. All you have to do is, it's yours. And then somebody says, "Oh, here's this Lamborghini that cost 3,000 or 30,000 that I want you to buy or put a lease on," and I'm like, "Well, then what the hell? Why would you pick that over the car that's free?" It's like, yeah, you might think it looks better, but like, why pay for something that's only marginally, I guess, an improvement, and it's only in a cosmetic way? The worst part is some guy actually think they have a genuine connection with some broad they pay for. Like, come on, you can't be that dense. Yeah, I know for a fact that a lot of prostitutes pretend to be interested in a guy so they can get him to like basically keep coming back. There was this one prostitute I encountered on this dating website who was. I wish I still had that account because I deleted it. But they basically were saying, "Oh, if you pay for me to come to your place, I can fly back over to your place a second time, and we can start speaking." And blah, blah, blah. And I was just thinking to myself, how like the only thing I could think when I'm reading this is how many different dudes did she try to sell that same crock of crap to? That's why I said I'm not stupid. Like I've been swindled enough by chicks to know when you're like you know the thing. Yeah, it's all a game. It's just another scam in the United States of scams. A genuine connection. Hey, Ruben, you're going to get your Feinstein documentary probably next week. It's going to be that one's probably going to be 3 parts, like the Schumer one, because she's been in office for like 30 or 40 years too. So you'll probably have 2 parts about her time in the Senate, and the first part will be about her getting to the Senate. And then there will be a Newsom one, and we'll go down from there. I'll try to do at least those 3 before going back to do some of the other presidents, because I really want to do Quincy Adams, because he's probably the earliest one I really like, because he was one of the first outspoken opponents of slavery. So I have a lot of respect for him. My comment got deleted again. This time I wrote, about Chelsea Handler posting pictures of herself online undressed. Well, I don't know who's doing it. It's not me. While posing with the Kissinger book. Oh, she took a picture with Dr. Kissinger's novel. Speaking of Kissinger, he's turning what 97 later this month. Let me see. And then you got all these stupid people. Evil never dies. Evil never dies. If he died, what is that going to make all the people that got murdered when he was Secretary of State rise from their graves? Goddamn. Yeah, the 27th. So we got 3 more weeks. Yeah, it's been a really just kind of aggravating period because it's hard to record stuff. It's sometimes hard to focus on things because what will happen is people will sit in other rooms and they'll be on the phone and they talk so loud and you've got this echo just going through the place. I'm like, damn, shut up. So it's just another, source of aggravation. But like I said, this was all stuff that did exist before the quarantine. It's just happening more often because people are basically saying, I have nothing to do anymore because everywhere is shut down, even though I still get out at least once during the day to go for a walk or, like around the block. So there are things you can still do. And they didn't ban people from meeting individually with someone that they like. So it's not as awful as people are trying to pretend it is. Now, the people who should be complaining are the ones who are talking about they can't afford to pay their rent. Those are legitimate criticisms of this because I'll be the first to admit the U.S. Congress has done a horrible job in keeping people on their feet. And you've got this douchebag senator from South Carolina, Graham, who I've talked about a little bit, but not that much before because I try to ignore that he exists. He was like, I want to make sure that we don't give the people too much money because they're not going to be incentivized to work anymore when this is over. I'm like, idiot, they can't work. 22 million people filed for unemployment because everything's shut down. Jesus Christ. They don't even care. They just say whatever. All these people that are working before, if we give them $2,000 a month, they're not going to want to work anymore. It's like, who's crazy enough to think? Like, they worked for years. And then when we were doing the Excrement Employers 3, you saw that, Megumi, 98 applications and only heard back from one place that wasn't a straight up no. Because most of the time they act like you don't exist. They don't say anything. But we know what Slum Digger was writing. He said, "This is because of your lack of experience." It's like, damn, I'm not applying to be the CEO of Microsoft. I just want to flip a burger. I didn't know you need to have a PhD to make a patty, go up and down. It's like, why can't people just say, okay, if this person applied to all these places, there's something wrong with them because these places aren't even a big deal. They're not high positions. I'm not trying to be the general manager. It's just like, why does no one have that? Like just the tiniest bit of compassion, just a little bit, an ounce, a snippet. But nope, not nothing. Just whatever. No, that broad got on my nerves because I distinctively have the message where she's like, and even if you don't want to speak anymore, I'm still going to do your project. And then she literally vanishes, says nothing. You send her the stuff, she ignores it. I'm like, these pricks, you know what? We need to take the term red herring and we need to just tattoo it on all these chicks' behinds because they will say things to get you to think something and then they will do the complete opposite, sometimes right after saying that. Like I said, this person gave me her number just to stop responding to anything I said a day later. Like, that's weird. What do you think of? Oh, you mean Tara? Like I said, my thing is I want to make sure that I hope that sweet way. You know, you might not be talking about her because her last name is Reed as well, but it's spelled different. Let me type that name in. I know you like nicknames, so we'll see if that's if that's the same person. Oh, the Labor Party founder. I assume that's who you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about his dad because he this is Adolph Reed Jr. So I don't know. I don't know who you're referring to directly. God, people don't even care. They just say whatever. They don't even. Oh yeah, yeah. I've never really. I don't think I've heard of him before, but what I saw looked pretty impressive. So I'll go and I'll give you a more in depth opinion later on. Also, to respond to your question on Discord, Kalinsky was talking about how he doesn't agree with the Mosh and economic stuff, and basically he was kind of like saying he still welcomes all the voices into the race, kind of like a generic thing. Because for some reason, these progressive commentators they feel like if they don't keep saying I don't agree with this person on almost anything, we're going to think, oh, they must be a secret uh, Republican or something. Like we get it, you don't agree. You have to say it every 8 seconds. I still can't get over him not knowing who Massey was. That was unforgivable. That was really dumb on his part. Well, I actually, and I did mention this. I recorded a video, and it was going to be called the worst secular talk video, where I was going to talk about this video he made that disgusted me that came out 2 years ago, and how um, he kind of like it. It was just so gross, so gross. Not roast. Not like it's a movie. Like, oh, this movie grossed 3 billion at the box office. Well, that just shows the hypocrisy. Like I said, Ruben, him, Collins, Murkowski, they all get unnecessarily hated. TYT did a video just last week about Collins. She always pretends like she's a moderate, but she lets us down, whether that was when she voted to not impeach the president of her party or for the Supreme Court nominee that Trump had, the second one. It's like we're gonna just ignore all the other times she voted with the Democrats. We're gonna ignore that she whatever. Okay, who cares about logic or facts or things that actually happen? It's just whatever. Let's just be cherry pick what we want to discuss. Oh yeah, Ruben. If I do any of the, I've decided if I do any of the presidents after Hoover, the first one I'm doing is Ford because that will be the easiest one to do. At least I think anyway. It's always easier to do the one-term presidents than the two-term ones because I can't decide if I want to do their election, like split it by term, or just have it be their whole presidency. So I'm surprised that Kyle was at least honest enough to admit his unpopular opinion about that topic. Yeah, a lot of the popular commentators kind of acquiesce to the petulance of their subs. Like they don't like to take a stand because they think they're gonna. And you see with a lot of people. There's this one guy that does Dragon Ball content who only after Super ended and he got all his subs and likes was he starting to criticize it. Like I was saying, it focused too much on Goku, and I got insulted by his fans, and he said it focused too much on Goku. They're like, "Oh, I agree." I said they have too many stupid transformations that don't mean anything, like Ultra Instinct, and then he says that afterward, and they're like, "Oh, I agree." I'm not saying he got it from me or anything. I'm just saying that depending on who says something, people do react differently to it. Man, I just keep sometimes staring at my email like I have PTSD, looking at all those applications. Like I never would have thought in a million years that it would be that difficult, not even to just get a position, to actually hear back from these people. Like out of 31 7-Elevens, only one of them said something. It took almost a month for them to respond. And then when you respond to them, they don't even say anything back. And then there's a certain sub of mine who's saying you need to do something online and develop something online, and that will be a good way to get paid. I'm like, dude, I don't believe in the computer stuff because the computer stuff is way too unstable for me to rely on it and actually take it seriously and think it's going to support me in an actual financial way. It's just it's not. I mean, you saw what happened with Mark and Winter Fresh. They left uh, just out of the blue. So if you have people like that, I'm not trying to insult them, but I can't. That's kind of what I'm saying about how it's not stable. No, Megumi, I was trying to be CEO and founder and chief of staff everywhere. That's why I didn't get anything because the positions were so high quality and the biggest thing in the world. Crystal Ball talking about Masha's door is hilarious when you realize who the owner of the hill is. I don't know. For some reason, a lot of the progressive chick commentators aren't really that good. Like I think the only one I kind of like is what's her name, Nomiki. She worked for TYT before they got rid of her, which was really stupid. Outside of that, it's kind of like because I know Ruben doesn't like Vigeland, that crybaby. She was going, Bernie is tired. This is, of course, direct contrast to Chick's situation too. It's like an endless cycle. What gets me is that other our family members seem to say you may be doing something wrong. Yeah, I told you that if that chick got as much flack for having a kid she couldn't afford as I get for seeking out but not hearing anything back from these employers, she probably would snap or like not speak to these people anymore. By the way, she actually did something stupid yesterday too. I mean, like her life is like a cartoon now where you have these people who she will talk to and you think, oh, they have good relationships with her, and then she leaves and they all just sit there talking trash about her. I don't do that. There's no person I consider my friend that I'll sit and talk about behind their back. If I have a problem with them, I'll say it to their face. Like when I told Ruben to stop sending me those Neera Tanden clips where you get banned. Or when I told Megumi to stop bragging about his 3 marriages that produced 8 different children. No, I was gonna say that it was really funny because they actually there was one relative who was like, if you cut your hair, and I'm like, douchebag, do you not realize that none of these places have a picture option, so none of them know what I look like? But even if I did, I've been to these places. They have people with afros. Like, what are you talking about? It's just stupid. So they will take one little thing that they might not like about you and then just make it seem like it's the end all be all. Like if you just didn't have this, or if this was different, everything would be so wonderful and there'd be this big rainbow in the sky. And God. And nobody thinks that's weird. Nobody says, what the hell is going on? Um, I wasn't trying to get sympathy when I do the videos on like you know, the job stuff or the romance stuff, really any of it. It's simply to illustrate a point. So if when I say this situation is very difficult and I've tried to make it better or change it or not have it be as awful as it currently is, I show proof to say this is not something I'm making up. You can actually see it for yourself that I've made attempts for this to be different than how it is, and it's usually not reciprocated by the other person. But that's why I said that people make things that are out of our control seem like they're in our control. So you have people who to this day will say, he did something wrong. If he got turned down by 90 kicks, there must have been something wrong with him. It couldn't just be that, you know, they acted crazy. But that's how they roll. They have to take the confirmation bias. They need to be aware that what they think of the world is how it is. Because if you actually get those pressing, slip through the cracks stories, they tend to screw people up. Like I'll never get over the fact that the only reason I didn't get a degree was because I couldn't afford to continue my education. I never would have thought in a million years when I was studying for all these stupid classes that the thing that was going to kill me as far as academics was not having tens of thousands of dollars sticking out of my pocket to give some school. But like I still, without being in debt, can have empathy for people who made the decision to continue it and have this chain put to their leg, because I recognize that it's still a screwed up situation, regardless of if it happened to me or not. And I still have people to this day. You're never going to get a position that's actually worth a damn because you don't have a degree. I'm like, so what? You want me to give all of what I already own for some piece of paper that doesn't guarantee me a job anywhere? Like, I mean, it really is you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You either give all of what you have to get this paper and then also have a shackle on your legs you can't even spend to buy anything that you need, or you say screw the paper and look for employment and then get told that you need the paper to look for work. Like no one's ever been hired to anything that was good. Like they act like plumbers don't exist. They act like trade school, like, oh my God. And then they do the same thing over and over again. All the little stupid assumptions. Did you apply for financial aid? Did you ask other people to assist you financially? Did you like they really think I just saw this big price tag and I was like, well, I guess I can't go to school anymore. That's why I said people just want a confirmation bias. They don't care about looking into something or knowing the facts or recognizing that each situation is different. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they try to make it not matter. Yeah, it's a just in general, life it can be an aggravating thing because you'll oftentimes have a couple of people who are really trying to make something work, and then they have these obstructionists. Like if someone's house gets knocked down by a hurricane, that's a natural disaster. You can't really control that. So I do recognize there are situations out of people's control that, like, out of everyone's control. But when you get to stuff like, oh, this one wouldn't go on a date with me, this school's got some high price that I can't afford. It's like at that point you have to ask yourself, is it really the fault of the individual experiencing this stuff? If they go out of their way to attempt to meet those challenges and they don't get what they wanted out of it because someone else decides that's the case, what else can they do? Like I don't think any normal person that's 2 years out of high school has $12,000 they can just give to some school for a year. But people don't care. They're just going to, they assume and say stupid stuff online and play the little dumb games. I'm already waiting for Slum Digger to write. Maybe if your power level was higher, you could have gotten some more financial aid. Maybe if I could break a rock with my bare hand or something, I don't know. Oh, people are so weird. They don't even care either. They let you basically just kind of get screwed over and they smile and they go back to their rationales. They're like, oh, he didn't work hard enough. He didn't try hard enough. That's why I started doing the edited stuff with the screenshots, because it's a lot harder to deny reality when it's right in your face. But even then, people still find a way to do it. Like I mentioned with the Lady Lacking Logic, I told that broad about a bimbo who said, "I will not speak to you if you don't talk to me by text," basically saying she would never speak to me by phone or audio or anything that wasn't, this. I did a little typing hands. And the lady lacking logic tried to say, well, maybe she was trying to say, or she meant that she wasn't ready to speak yet. So I literally had to go into my old Reddit accounts, private messages, and read verbatim that chick said, I will not talk to you unless it's by text. And the broad, the lay lacking logic was like, okay, fine. It's like, no, it's not fine. If I tell you this person said this, I'm not making that up. But that's why I said that people want to do things and they don't want the consequences of it. All she had to do was concede the point I made, or rather, not the point I made, but just the validity of what I was saying about what this broad told me. And there would have never been any problem. She could have said, oh, that was screwed up, but I don't think she was necessarily wrong for saying, like, it could have been any other opinion other than the opinion of this person didn't say what I'm saying that they said, even though I have goddamn proof of them saying that in my DMs. But they don't want the pushback. Okay, fine. It's not fine. I told you what they said verbatim, and you're going, well, I think they meant to say, no, they said this. That's like Megumi saying, I don't want to watch any of your videos. And then Ruben says, I think Megumi meant he doesn't want to watch any of your videos in 360p. And I'm like, no, Megumi said he doesn't want to watch any more of those damn things. Oh, and then, by the way, if you remember Megumi, you probably don't. I did a stream, I think it was on Sunday or Monday, and I was talking about how the broad with the baby basically acted really stupid, and then like not in the usual dumb kind of way. It was, this person claimed that they looked for formula for their kid and they couldn't find it anywhere. And we had some left. This place they went had some left over there because they like to leave all their kids' stuff everywhere. And I was trying to tell this person how dumb what they did was, because it's dangerous to leave your kids' food somewhere, especially if you claim that you can't find the same food in the stores, right? So this person says, you just don't like her. If she were to fart, you would have a problem. I'm like, are you kidding me? We're not talking about my opinion. She said she didn't have any food for her damn kid. And you're trying to make it seem like that's just me having a difference of opinion. And no one has a problem with this. Like, this is why people fail, like intellectually, because they will turn things that actually matter, things that genuinely are life and death, into these opinionated squabbles. Like, oh, well, this person, if they had farted, you would have a problem. No, it's not about if they have flatulence. We're talking about the kid eats or doesn't. Like, if you don't know for fact that your kid's gonna eat every day, guess what? Don't be horny and let an unprotected penis go inside your little nasty, filthy, rotten, unprepared taco. Like, Jesus Christ. That's why I said I don't even like talking to people anymore. All they do is say stupid stuff. Everything's a goddamn opinion. It was my opinion that her kid didn't have food. That was a fact. Well, I doubt the other people that were there were going to let it starve. But that's not the point. If you're, the reason they call people parents, besides the fact that two people lay in bed and have a kid they can't afford usually, is because it's the parent's responsibility to make sure their kid can eat. And then this dingbat has the audacity to say, you've been mean to the baby. You call it. And you, like, I'm mean for saying that it will unfortunately have a life that will suck because its parents can't afford it. But not the people who had a kid they can't afford on purpose. Like, I'm mean for saying stuff that has no effect on the kid's life. It just doesn't. But the people who actually have an impact on the kid's life are not mean when they don't prepare for it to go to school, when they don't like. Are you kidding me? My rhetoric matters more than these people's actions. Yeah, I'll call it because I don't give a damn. Like, what? Like, is me calling it gonna make the child die or be malnourished? Hell no. The stupid bastard that's raising is the reason for that. Told you it will never be okay with me that I went out of my way to, and I made this point in the childless problem video. I'm not going to rehash it here, but I will always remember the period of 2014 to 2017 of me approaching, I don't even remember how many chicks, and sitting down with at least 10 or 15 of them and talking about wanting to have a kid after getting married. And all these bastards playing the same game. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that. Oh, I don't feel an attraction to you, blah, 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 blah. And then a chick that doesn't prepare for any of that lays up in a bed with the guy that doesn't own a damn thing. And we're not even talking about property or having six figures, just is poor, factually. And they get to do what I wanted, minus the preparation and the stuff that's actually going to make the kid succeed. And then when I criticize these people for doing this stupid thing, I'm the villain, not the people who made the kid they can't afford. No, it's me. Like, am I what, Professor X or Jean Grey? Did I use my telekinesis to force them into bed and screw with and have unprotected sex? Did I use my telepathy to make the broad have a kid she couldn't afford after being knocked up? Because they always have the option to terminate it. And this guy gonna talk about, you're so heartless, how could you suggest that? Man, I don't listen. Really, what should have happened is they shouldn't have had the thing in the first place, and that could have been stopped by not screwing without a condom or just not screwing at all. So it's not really difficult. I just wish people would stop acting like you just wake up one day and, oh, I am now a parent. Okay, Senator Graham spoke today in support of creepy Biden. Yeah, that's his friend. By the way, on Wikipedia, Ruben, you can go to Biden's page. They split his Senate career and his vice presidency after like all of them were like, yeah, let's separate it. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, the vice presidency section wasn't even long. And it's like, okay, you want to split the Senate section, and I kind of get that because that's 30 years of stuff, but it's like, why do both? Because now literally the article is early life before, being in the Senate, a little bit on the Senate, a little bit on running for president, a little bit on being VP, and then this election. Like, it's just, it looks really weird now. But whatever, they do stupid stuff on there. That's why I left. Don't let these things bother you too much. You're just going to end up making yourself go insane. Well, I said before that we are products of our environment. If I wasn't constantly surrounded by a group of people who try to make it seem normal that an individual had a kid she couldn't afford, maybe I wouldn't go insane. Maybe I wouldn't go insane if after not having any kids, I have to hear every 4 or 5 days because this is one of the daycare centers. So I'm just saying I am a product of my environment. If I do go insane, there's going to be a very large part of it that was contributed by those around me. Biden keeps getting addressed on mainstream media as vice president, which to me looks like mainstream media is implying something. Vice president. Oh, let me read what Megumi said. I didn't read it. It really does get frustrating just interacting with those kind of people. Exactly. But people lose their minds and get mad at when someone says the actions that influence a situation. Well, that's why I kind of feel like talking to people is so useless, because it's all right to have an opinion. And I've talked about that before, but what I hate is this, like, weird tendency people have to where they want to debate everything. So, I just kind of get tired of that. Oh, by the way, people are arriving, so I'm gonna have to probably. I don't know if I'll have to end it right now, but I'm definitely not gonna be able to, speak at the high volumes anymore. I hope you enjoyed that. I just wish that we could get some normalcy from chicks. Like, there's more of them than us, but then we're all sitting here like crabs in the barrel approaching them, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I wish that when I gave the examples of all the like crazy stuff they do, people would actually say, "Yeah, this is ridiculous." Like, why does someone have to be affected by something to have empathy? I don't get that. It's very difficult to keep enduring it constantly and over the years. Yeah, that's why I stopped approaching because I got tired. Like, you want to say someone got lazy? Okay, fine. Like, I got lazy with not wanting to getting the same result over and over again. And like the only difference is you get a little bit older, you get a little bit more tired of it. And that's the thing. Like, all these people do is just waste your time. Like, you talk to some broad you like for 2 or 3 months, she says she's not interested, she blocks you or stops speaking to you. And that's a satisfying ending to talking to that chick. And then you come on here and you can't even complain about it without getting called entitled or some would be rapist or whatever other dumb thing they want to come up with. But it's like people need an incentive to want to keep doing things. If every chick you talks to does the same thing and all you get is blamed, and it's like the same broads you're getting blamed for not being appealing to are the same ones who'll talk about how smart and funny and intelligent you are. At some point, you got to look at this objectionably and say, what's wrong with them? If they like all this stuff about you, why won't they do it? But if you're not getting anything out of those relationships other than some clown entertained over the phone or through text, I don't understand the point of keeping it going. That's why I stopped. Like, I even told the lady lacking logic in the text message, I can't want to be married and go and have a relationship and all this stuff and talk to a broad that's single. It's not going to work because I'm always going to think about, oh, if only this person would reciprocate my interest. That's why with the clown I'm gonna go into this week, I actually did accept what happened with that person because they were actually doing something that was helping me at the very least because they were participating in the project. So to have that same person basically go back to their same crappy ways, that see, the thing is, they wanted to basically make it seem as if the relationship stuff was over, like, oh, we're done trying to pretend this is going to be some potential romance crap, but then you still want to treat me the same way that you did when you thought I liked you ignore my messages just like you ignored them when you were trying to get me to stop hurting myself by speaking to you. So it's like, what, you still subconsciously think that this is some spurned attempted lover or something is what I'm getting at. All right, Ruben said they want you to give them advice for how to talk to the guy they really want to get with. Well, that's what I was saying, I'm tired of being the TN to some guy's Goku. I'm not going to sit here and do all the work of entertaining you and all this stuff, and then you get with someone else. And you still expect me to speak to you after you do it. Because I said before, they have the right to turn someone down until the cows come home, but they can't force me to keep speaking to them. And that's why the lady lacking logic lost her goddamn mind after I blocked her on all the different websites because she couldn't fathom that I could just walk away like I did. I could just get up and say, hey, this chick I spoke to for 9, 10 months, she doesn't like me. Hey, go to hell. She couldn't accept it. There's not a single broad that blocked me everywhere that I tried to talk to after it. There just isn't. Because none of them are worth going through the trouble of trying to speak to after they soundly say, leave me alone like that. But she wanted to keep me in her friend zone so that when she talks to whatever guy that is boring that she thinks is so hot and beautiful, she can get the entertainment from me while getting the screwing from the guy. And it's like, I'm not I'm not playing interference for your, uh, narcissistic, appearance-driven relationship. Like, go to hell. If I'm not good enough to have in a romantic capacity, I'm not good enough to have in a platonic one. That's why that one commentator got on my nerves when they said that all I was entertainment to these broads. But I mean, it's true that you can have a billion phone calls with these chicks, and it goes the same way. They laugh at all the jokes you make, pretend like they like you so damn much, and then when you say you're interested, they start backpedaling. Well, I never said explicitly that I would want to go on the date. It's just no one needs that. That's not good for me. It's not good for anybody. Just keep having it happen. That's what I'll always stand by. Words to stand by for sure. What words? Magumi, I don't. I'm actually asking that legitimately. I don't know what specifically. I don't know if it was something I said or Ruben said because he wrote the last comment before you said anything. Someone actually got mad at me, this one broad, because I said I don't want to talk to any chicks that are overweight, and I was just simply saying I have standards as well, and I would feel bad to waste someone's time by making them think I like them just because we spoke for a month or two and I gave them a bunch of compliments. I don't want to treat someone the way I've been treated by chicks that don't reciprocate. If you aren't good enough for a romantic relationship, you aren't good. Yeah, because dude, it's happening more and more. Every broad I don't want to talk to after they say after I say after they say they're not interested, wants to keep it going the platonic way, and I said, hey, go to hell. Like the one that's ignored me, over and over again that I'm going to do the video on. She initially wanted to keep it platonic, and I agreed to that uh, at that point because I was I was really starved of chick attention. Admittedly, sometimes you get caught slipping, but I just said after a certain time, this is stupid, and I unfriended her because she backpedaled. Like I said, they changed their minds like I changed shirts. In less than 2 weeks, she went from saying we should keep talking to, I don't think this is going to work. So, and again, without me doing anything, having any like major shift in attitude or personality, she just sat at her house and decided that. And it was the same thing with the Lady Like and Logic. I mean, I don't get what the hell these people like. That's why I said I'm really sick of chicks because people will call me selfish for not talking to them, but they're the most selfish bastards in the world because they'll know some guy that wants to get with them is single, and they want to keep talking to him, but they don't want to give him anything he wants. Oh, I get to speak to you on the phone where all you do is giggle like a mental patient. Oh, what a great deal for me. Like literally, I can count on one hand and all the it must have been 20 or 30 phone calls I had with the Lady Lack and Logic. I can count on one hand how many things she said that I actually thought were entertaining or funny or just like they don't offer anything. It's just the guy doing all the heavy lifting. That's why every time you hear these people talking about sugar daddies and all this, it's like it's a broad who is with some horny guy that wants to have like a real life blow up doll sitting at his house that he can bang whenever he wants. So he does all the work. The blow up doll sits at the house and wastes the electricity and the resources, and he's supposed to be content with that kind of lifestyle. I don't need to take care of anyone that's not maybe some close family member or a little kid. Like if you're a grown adult, you should be able to do that for yourself. But again, like I said, as a man, I can't expect for a chick to ever assist me in any capacity. Like I couldn't name one broad that ever did anything for me that wasn't a phone call. Like they're useless. And it doesn't have to be that way, which is why I got so mad at the fact that the one to do the video on basically signed up for this thing and she jumped off right as soon as she got on it because she literally could have done that and I would say, okay, that's a chick that at least did something for me, you know, that was long term and actually was assisting. It's like instead, all you did was offer a minor patch up for a long term issue, and then basically leave the problem the way it was before. And like I said, I know that chick lives on Discord because of one of the recordings they did. You can hear the Discord notification going off in the background. I'm just like, turn that stupid app off. Jesus Christ. Too many of them really are selfish and extremely entitled, anyways. Yeah. I mean, the way that the Lady Lack and Logic behaved after she got blocked was entitled. He blocked me everywhere. I'm still going to try to speak to him. It's like, I don't want to talk to you. God, I'm not like, I'm good. Kick rocks. And Megumi, I don't know if you remember we were talking about wrestling a little bit last week during the live show. I don't know if you were here for it, but I was gonna say with the chicks, they lie, they cheat, they steal, and unlike Eddie Guerrero, they're not honest about it. How many times has a broad said one thing and then done the other? Too many to count. Women ironically get annoyed when you're the one who is uninterested. Well, they've been consistently uninterested in the romance stuff, but I've been very uninterested in the platonic stuff. Like the platonic stuff only goes on as long as I think, like I try to have a period where I kind of show interest without explicitly saying so. Like, oh, hey, you want to talk this week, whatever. And then after the fact is when I make a move. And then when they say I'm interested, my interest in talking to them goes right out the window. Like, oh, back to square one. Got to get rid of this bimbo too. Hey, Slum Digger, remember I told you, I didn't tell you, but I was on the stream and I was like, the Lady Lack and Logic got mad because I said I wouldn't date her if she was the last person on earth. And I'd rather eat, what's that the cyanide tablet, the thing that kills you when you eat it, is filled with poison, than, than go on a date with her. She had just pure rage. That was the angriest I ever saw her. She's like, what the F is your problem? It just was, it was great. Not at all advocating for pickup artists, but one thing they recommend is ignoring women a little to build some space and show you aren't needy. Well, that's what I did with the one I'm doing the video on. I ignored her for an entire week after she sent me some stupid message, and then she was like, "I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'm apologizing. And after if I mess up again, you can throw me away forever." And then 1 week later, she did the exact same thing of vanishing. Like it was the 11th that she sent that message, the 18th. That's why I said they say one thing, do the other. I used to discard them like that too back in the early days of me being so interested in getting to date a chick. All I'm saying is I get what that opinion is, but I've shown them repeatedly I'm not interested to where I'm needy because with the Lady Lack and Logic, I mentioned before she went to another state and we didn't speak up for almost a whole month. Um, without me making any attempt to contact her. And then I contacted her, and she was like, "Oh, I was so busy, and people were at this house, and just all a billion different excuses." My point is, I did do what you're saying, and it still ends up the same way. They honestly can't take being ignored too. Like literally, they lose their minds. Like I said, the Ladylike and Logic's the only broad I can think of where I blocked them everywhere and they still were trying to contact me. It's like, go away. Ain't no damn girl. It's a grown woman. Both. That's another thing. Envoy, both the Lady Lack and Logic and the chick, the one I'm gonna do the video on. They're both over 30 years old. So these are chicks that are almost 10 years older than me, acting like complete clowns, doing the most childish stuff I have ever seen from grown people. Got a 30-plus-year-old woman getting depressed every other week and hiding in a little hole, and then get surprised and you tell her to go to hell. Boy, toy. If she's using every excuse in the book, like her family are, or her hamster died, or she's not feeling well, it just comes across as a bunch of hot air. Yeah, that's why I said I don't fall for that anymore. If they show a lack of interest, I show the same lack of interest. Except they show a lack of interest romantically. I show lack of interest platonically. It's all about how much she values you. Brad Pitt doesn't get ghosted. Man, you should have seen some of the stuff people were writing to me. They were like, "You got to do this. You have to have this hobby, this talent." I was like, "Damn, you." They want me to be a rapper slash singer slash documentary maker slash author slash hunter. I mean, damn, they made like this guy came on my video talking about you need hobbies and if you have a different skill set, she'll be interested. I'm like, dude, I draw, I write, I make, I edit. Like, what more things do you like? And why does someone need to have a billion different things they're into just to get a date? Like, at a certain point, you just have to say, damn, is it really worth that? The answer is no, because they procreated with the wrong women. Yeah, well, I told you about the one that the broad had the baby, who she got with, put him in jail, used all his money up. I mean, it's just, it's a sad, stupid cycle. You've had a lot of experiences with women, so you know the warning signs. Same with me. So when we're in our 30s, hopefully it's not as bad. When I'm in my 30s, I'm not even gonna think about any of these chicks ever. Like I don't. That's why I said the childless problem upload that there's a time and place for everything. That at a certain point, you can't keep holding out the stick of one day it'll be your turn and expecting me to now jump for it. It's like you did that when I was in middle school, high school, college. It doesn't work anymore. Like I said, people waste your time, and then other people try to pretend like you have this infinite amount of it just because they believe you're young. It's stupid. Like I'm waiting for one of them to actually pull out Weeze's staff. Remember the staff Weeze has that makes it to where they can travel back in time and show that and be like, it's okay. They can waste your time over and over again. Rather be lonely than wish I was alone. You feel me? Yeah. In a way, it's sort of cathartic. If you get burned at an early age, it's easier to see through people's BS. So hopefully it works out for some men. But like I said, the only way this works out is if a chick just decides to get with you. Because I've seen them do that before, where they just say, "Hey, I am interested," and they ask to go on a date and to call you and all that stuff. But if they choose for that not to be the case, then you're just screwed over and over. So I said relationships, people when they give that little stupid advice online, they try to pretend like it's not up to multiple people, to the two people that are going to form it if it works out. So when you got one person who keeps saying, "I'll take this person, take that person, take this person," and they keep saying he's not tall enough, I don't think he's attractive enough, I don't feel anything for him. He's not going to get anything no matter how hard he tries. Yeah, I don't even order pizza. I only order pizza when my brother is over because he loves that. That's his favorite food. I'm really disappointed in broads because even when you work with them and in a professional capacity, they still act really ridiculous. Oh, the guy sounds like a clown himself. He believes you have to possess all that. Well, hey, Megumi, he set the record for being one of the shortest tenured subscribers I ever had. That dude subscribed to me, and less than 2 weeks later, he got banned because he was over there writing paragraphs about you don't take any accountability for this, and you need to do that. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then he's like, "Oh, you need other hobbies besides making romance videos." I'm like, "Well, I do. I have a whole show where I draw it, edit it, direct it. I wear a lot of hats." And I'm like, that's why I think all the romance people are hypocrites because the same person who will say you need to make other stuff is the same person who, when you make the other stuff, they completely ignore it. That's why I call them trolls because I made a stream about, I think it was Iran or some country the same day as a romance stream. This dude has nothing to say about it, along with pretty much anything else that I put up that's not about romance. It's like, okay, then you're just a liar that is trying to get some attention on somebody's video. Go somewhere else with that. Envoy, in reference to the wrestling videos, I'm probably gonna try to write a script for one of them this week. Again, the thing is with someone like Cena, like they're gonna be formatted similar to the politician ones where it's gonna be at least 2 or 3 parts if they have some, 10, 20-year career. Because I want to try to see if I can grab clips of the person speaking throughout their career and stuff. And that'll I got a list of people and I've got a top three that I'm gonna go with before we do it. The only thing I'm worried about is getting a copyright claim from WWE if I use any footage from a match or anything, because they love doing that where they're like, he's making a video with our footage, even though he only used 1 minute of it. There, that's going to cut our profits. So it's really annoying. I just want to do the Schumer one because I wanted to do one on each of the members of Congress that are in high profile conditions, positions. So both Schumer and McConnell, because they're the party leaders in the Senate for the Democrats and Republicans, and then Pelosi and McCarthy and the rest of the different people. So I'll try to do some of that this week. Yeah, I'll never be able to cross him as much as his wife did when she spent what was 100 million on that Senate seat just to get smashed by Murphy. It's like, oh, she got a job by Trump. She was the small business administrator. It's like, yeah, but she really wanted to be a senator, and it didn't work out too well. Sometimes all the coins in the world won't swing an election. I bet if she would have won if she ran in Texas or something. That's what happens to a lot of conservatives in blue states. They want to run for some office, and then they might actually be more moderate than the Republicans in other states, and they still get smashed. Like we actually haven't had a Republican win a general election spot for a Senate seat in my state since in like 8 years since the 2012 election. Y'all hear about the press secretary pledging herself to honesty? Yeah, that's just her being a stupid broad. So we'll see if she actually does what she says. I doubt it. And people are saying when Vince retires, Triple H is going to take over the WWE. Like, how is this man that's not even his son gonna take the reign? Like, I get that he married his daughter. I would think she'd be the owner because she was making all kind of appearances. Going back to the early 2000s. So it's kind of I don't really know where that line of thought comes from. Oh man. Oh yeah, that's most likely what's going to end up happening. She's like, "Oh no, you can take the company instead." That's a hell of a thing when you just get married to somebody and they have some generational company in their name, and then you take over instead of the person who's actually related to their predecessors. I never really got into wrestling. I wasn't allowed to watch it. Who and when I was younger and didn't pick it up when I got older. I always liked Rey Mysterio though. Hey, Envoy, I was telling this guy that the Benoit hate boner is so ridiculous that there's a person who made a toy review of a Benoit figure, and he was like starting the video off by saying, "I know this will be very controversial. I know this might be controversial." If he and he had the comments turned, I was like, "Damn, did they really mess with him just because he reviewed a toy?" Of this man that came out before any of that even happened. Yeah, the guy starts off the it's a Benoit figure that came out, I think about maybe it was like March 2007, like a couple months before the double murder. And he starts it off by going, "Hey, I hope this isn't controversial." And he had the comments turned off. And I was just thinking to myself, did people really come to him? And I've seen that same thing happen before where someone will just show like the stuff they have of his I guess wrestling image and people just lose their mind. Oh, I know, Ruben, that Batista endorsed him on Twitter. They're mad at him for reviewing a toy. I still think it would be funny if someone gets mad at me for using that song. I'm like, the song didn't kill anybody. In episode 38, it would be funny if someone gets mad over that. People on the internet will find something wrong with everything. A man would say a baby from a burning building, but people will say, "How come he didn't manage to save any valuables in the house?" Yeah, everyone has a problem with something. That's why, like a lot of the stuff on YouTube that's really not offensive, you still find people leaving like ridiculous comments. Like there was a guy who actually did I think it was a character breakdown of Frankie from One Piece or some other character from One Piece. And he was talking about how he was disappointed they didn't really use him. And he was giving specific examples of how he wasn't used here and there and what they could have done instead of what we actually got. And there were people in the comment section who were like, "You're a loser." I'm like, really? All he's saying is that he thinks they could have used this character more, which is a very, very light critique of a show. It's not like he's saying it sucks or anything because they didn't use him. Just like with Dragon Ball Kakarot, I was saying that I think it's a good game. I just don't like the fact that Krillin's not playable when this covers all of DBZ. But then you have Vegito playable, who's only in like what 3 episodes of the whole show. Like that's stupid to me. But again, it doesn't break the game. It's a pretty light critique to say I wish this one character was playable because in the actual story they have a much larger role than some of the people who are. Yeah, and Ti talked the guy down from jumping off of a bridge or something, if I remember correctly. I really would like to do a stream about Dragon Ball games and all the little stupid stuff that people say about them because there's a lot of like I'll always love Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which came out in, I think it was like 2008 and had the biggest roster of any Dragon Ball game ever in terms of playable characters. And when Xenoverse came out, the first one, people were saying the reason that the roster is so much smaller is because all the characters are unique and they play differently. I was like, well, if I'm playing a fighting game, I kind of want to be able to play with as many people as possible. But whatever, that's just something that they said. So when Xenoverse 2 came out and the roster was still kind of small, they were saying that same thing again. Like, oh, they're making everyone play differently. And then when Fighters came out, and the roster was even worse. Like, look, Fighters is a fun game. It's got one of the worst rosters of any Dragon Ball fighting game ever, in my opinion. Um, they actually had the nerve to say, "But this time the characters don't play this." I was like, oh, "Yeah, I'm not hearing that trash anymore." Like every time we get a crappy roster, the only thing they can come up with to defend it is, "This time the characters play differently." And you know what's funny is that all the games after Budokai Tenkaichi 3 retired the Great Ape, so you don't get to play as Great Ape Vegeta anymore, or Great Ape Nappa, or Great Ape. Who else? I think yeah, King Vegeta could turn to everybody could turn into a Great Ape in Budokai Tenkaichi 3, but it's like you can't tell me that they played the same as I don't know Goku or Vegeta. Like it just they try to pretend as if there wasn't variance in those older games when there was. Hey Ruben, even though this game only has 10 playable characters and the last one had 300, all of them play differently. I tell you, you could still find videos from 5 years ago of people talking about how crappy the roster was for the first six universe, and somebody goes, "But this time the characters play differently." It's like it's a damn fighting game. If I play that, I want. If think about this, if let's say there's some really great game with a bunch of wonderful mechanics, if and it's a fighting game, you can only play as 5 people. Would anybody really like that? That's why I said people don't even care. They just say random stuff to basically dodge all critiques ever of anything that they like. And I can't live like that. I can't blindly love something and not say, "Hey, I think this could have been better." Like I don't know why little itty bitty really nice critiques are this um strange thing for a lot of these fans. Yeah, I think I've spoken for long enough. So I will wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed. Um, we'll obviously do that. I'll do another one tomorrow and another one on Monday. And like I said, I want people to not close their minds off to things they haven't experienced. It's not hard to put yourself in someone else's position if you just try. Um, I think I mentioned before the best showing of my empathy is when I do my project because I always give people extensions because I recognize that there are things out of our control that sometimes happens when you get sick. Sometimes stuff happens. So, oh yeah, Piscord, horrible website, the worst social media site ever invented. Second worst is Twitter. And Megumi is saying he thought the stream was okay, but I screamed too much. I need to have a more softer tone, like be a kinder, gentler Justin. Like, I guess that's all right. He gave me a light critique. He said that the screaming turned him off, and he almost ran out of his room from the veracity of my voice. But it's okay. I'll make sure not to scream again or to yell. It was just nice to be able to speak in an unfiltered way for once. That's why I said usually if no one else is around, I'll do a stream because it's such a rare thing. Well, again, this stuff does piss me off. I just only speak lower tone most of the time because there's things happening, um, you know, concurrently with me trying to do something. So, anyways, I'll see you later. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a good day.